Right, it's time to get my next special guest on my show. No stranger to my show because we've had her on before, and also a friend of the show now, BB Ann. Lovely to have you back on.
Hey, I love being back. Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, it's always good to check in with where my previous interviewees just to see how they're doing, with their music and so on. And you're doing really well for yourself because you have a new EP out as well.
I do, yes. I just released an EP last Saturday, March 15th. That was actually recorded out in Tennessee. So about a 8.5 hour drive across the border for me. But I'm really excited about these songs to be out.
Great. I have had a listen to it, and yeah, it's a good collection of songs. We'll talk about that shortly. But for my listeners who probably haven't heard my interviews before, you just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're currently based and you like musical background and how you got into country and popular music.
Yeah. Well, yes, my name is BB Ann. I am a Southern Ontario Canadian country singer-songwriter. Bit country, maybe a little rock here and there. You might hear that little mix in. I love all types of music, but I really got into my music a few years ago. I had some extra time on my hands and always wanted to sing, and I never really pursued it as a career. And I decided I'd pick up a guitar and see where that led me. And it led me to some really cool places. I started writing music, and I have just kind of been nonstop going with the flow and loving kind of every minute of it. I think I have 11 original songs out now. That's probably my most favorite part of the music industry that I'm in, is for me being able to write music, create a song, and be able to share it with everybody.
That's
Um,
amazing. Yeah, good for you. And it's all about developing, isn't it? Development and
yeah, it
you
really
know
is.
and finding your musical journey, as you say, enjoying
Mhm.
the ride.
Yep.
And you're based in Southern Ontario. I did have a quick look at the map, actually. Are you located near Toronto or Ottawa? And if so, what is the music scene like
I'm a
over
bit
there?
more, I'm a little lower than that. I'm about 3.5 hour drive from Toronto. So I'm kind of actually south of like the border. I am basically right across the border from Detroit.
Wow,
And
that's
to the United
amazing.
States. So like it's quicker for me to fly a plane from Detroit than it is from Toronto. It takes me 25 minutes to get to the airport in Detroit, but it would take me 3.5 hours to get to the airport in Toronto, maybe four even, depending on
Yeah, yeah.
traffic.
And I looked on the map there. There was a place on there called Mrs. Auga. I'm not
So
sure if I pronounced that.
Mississauga, yeah.
That's a great name for a place. You perform there at all?
I've never performed in Mississauga. I've been out there a few times though, just for like a vacation kind of idea, but I've never sang out there. I have been bowling out there though, because I did grow up bowling, but I've never sang out there.
Yeah. Was that like 10 pin bowling or
And pin bowling,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, great. Yeah, fantastic.
My parents owned a bowling alley like my whole life growing up, so I was like, I did it almost professionally as a younger adult, I guess. So.
Great. And who have been some of the artists you've looked up to, like music wise?
Well, my biggest inspiration in the beginning was, I might have mentioned that the first time I was on here, Morgan Wade. I love her. I think she's not so much country, but she kind of gave me an inspiration to just be able to write real raw feelings, if that makes sense. But I've always looked up to, Shania Twain. I am like a 90s country fan, so like Sarah Evans, Shania Twain, like those women, like that would be a dream of mine to ever meet or perform with Shania. Um, but I kind of listen to all sorts of music. So I get inspiration from everywhere. I grew up, in my high school days being like an old school rap fan. And my dad grew up listening to oldies rock, which I listened to every single day because I lived in the house. So I kind of have um, that big range of I love all music. And I think that that's kind of a good thing because I'm not focused on one set
Yes,
area.
open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Better talk about your new album then, EPs. First track I wanted to talk about is Gin and You. So Gin and You, what's the story behind this record?
For the whole EP.
Yeah, just so
Yeah.
on Gin and yes, on Gin and You, just kind of this song.
Oh, the song, yeah.
Yeah.
This was actually the first song I ever wrote, Gin and You. Um, I guess I was in a good place at the time, happy, little inspiration, I guess dating a new guy. That was a little bit of the inspiration behind that. Um, but it was more of just kind of like being like, hey, I just want to have a drink and hang out with you, and that's kind of like what I want to do. I don't need to go out or do all like some fancy things. Just kind of hang out with that person, and the song was really fun. I remember writing it, and if you've listened to the hook or the pre-chorus, I guess you could call it, I do a little back and forth of the Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice song. Um, that just kind of came out while I was writing, while I was performing, and I decided I had to put it in the song because I've always performed it that way. Snoop Dogg was my first concert I ever went to, and like I said, I was an old school rap fan, and he's probably always one of my all time favorites. So when I wrote the song Gin and You, I kind of did like that playback. I don't know, I can recite the line if you want. He says, I say in the song, I say, I know Snoop's been talking that gin and juice with his mind on his money and his money on his mind. And then I say, but I'll be sipping on gin and you with my mind getting fuzzy because I'm buzzing on you. It was just kind of cute. I felt like a lot of people listened to it while I was singing it and thought it was cute and quirky. So I had to make sure I put it into the mix of the song.
Certainly flows anyway.
Yeah.
Yes. And would you say it's quite a positive, optimistic song? Having listened to it myself, I thought it was quite upbeat.
Yeah.
Also, gin as well. That's been quite popular, with as a drink here in the UK anyway. Quite cosmopolitan as well.
Hmm.
Are you partial to a gin? And if so, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, you know what? I think my favorite gin would be an Empress gin that we sell here. I'm not sure if it's sold globally, but it's a purple gin, so it's sold in a purple bottle, and I do like that gin. I think if I drink my gin, I'm usually just a gin soda. Not a big tonic fan. I find it really cuts the flavor, and I think I like the taste of the gin. I haven't drank gin in a little while though, so.
Yeah, yeah. And just looking at the artwork for Gin and You as well. What's the story behind the cover as well?
Um, when I went to record the EP, I recorded this EP down in Tennessee at a recording studio called Off the Row Studios. They were in Franklin, Tennessee. The producer, I guess co-producer, she was also a photographer, so we did all of my photo shoot out there. So the picture, I wanted it to be good enough, not good enough, but good for the entire album song, but also for the song itself. So just kind of like fun, smiley kind of idea. It was done. The photo shoot was done mostly on their ranch. They had a bunch of horses, and it was really beautiful out there.
Great. And also one of your follow-ups on the album is called Lit Up as well. Would you say that has kind of a rockabilly element to it? You mentioned you do a little bit of
Yeah,
rock.
that one might have a little bit more of that to it. Really fun song, kind of like a party song, like a country girl wrote a party song about like,
Mm.
hey, let's party tonight. We're all here. We're all the same. Kind of like we all want to do the same thing at the end of our day, no matter who we are. We want to relax, like leave our worries behind and just have some fun. So that one is really fun to perform. I'll tell you that. Like hearing album versions are always so different than the performance versions I find. And I think that's why I'm a concert junkie. I like to go watch artists perform. So it's kind of like you hear that song and it's really cool. The last little bit, we usually get the full band in with the whole foot stomps and the claps and the tambos where it's like lit up, lit up. It's kind of cool. So
That's fun. Fun to hear. And another track on there is called Lover in the Night. Would you say that's more kind of a more laid back, thoughtful song?
yeah, a little love tune, I think I would call
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Little love tune. Uh thought process, I guess there was well, I guess we're all adults. It doesn't matter. No, just like the thought process of having, that love that you have where, maybe you never have it. Maybe you do have it, just kind of like a lover in the night scenario where you're not really dealing with all of the emotions. You don't have like a stressed relationship. It's kind of just like um, That's kind of where that went. Little
Mm,
waltz tune. It was fun to write. I My dad, weirdly, it's his favorite, one of his favorite songs that I sing, but it's kind of
cool.
cool. It's
Yeah,
good.
and of course you got your the one of the last singles when I had you on was the song about the summer. Was it Summer Girl? Was it?
Yeah, yeah. So I had just re-released that one. Um, there was kind of like a little glitch near the end of the song, so I was either gonna leave it or not leave it, and I decided that I re-released it, fixed the problem. It was only out, I think, for a month and a half, and I that's why it got re-released. But it kind of worked out better for me in my thought process because all those four songs were all recorded in Tennessee, and those were the four that I did. So it's kind of nice that they all came out at the same time.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to do a little bit of a re-release.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think many people even heard the song, so in my it was like, hey, either this is what I'm doing or I'm not doing it. I just pulled the trigger and I was like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah. But there's two songs here where they certainly have heard of the songs because they're doing exceedingly well on streamer platforms. Mean to My Heart, that's one, and Mud on Your Boots as well.
Yeah, and you know what? Mud on Your Boots was the first song I ever put out. It's been on a few playlists, like just I think independent playlists that it's captured, but it is pretty popular. I do get that song requested all the time when I'm playing live. Um, and then Mean to My Heart did get on a Canadian indie country chart. It made its way to number two in 2023, not last year, the year before.
Oh,
So yeah, so maybe that's why I had a lot of people reach out to that song after. So it was really cool to be able to have that few radio plays too, I think. But
I know we've certainly played your songs here in the UK as well on their
yeah,
in
yeah,
Europe.
it feels so cool to have my songs played out in the UK. Like, yeah, that's cool. That's a cool feeling.
Amazing. And would you say you're quite a creative individual? You know how you get your ideas when you're writing lyrics and composing music, because sometimes, you know, in art, in arts, it can be quite challenging to put the jigsaw together of a picture or a song.
That is true. It's I find the writing part's usually one of the easier parts for me, and then there's not just writing to a song. There's so much when it comes to a song, especially when you're trying to promote a song or have people understand why you wrote it or feel those feelings, right? But I think I am pretty creative. I do all of my like my artwork, minus like photography, but like a lot of my artwork and all of that kind of stuff. So, but no, it's I love the creative process.
Yeah.
I think that's I don't know. Without that, I don't know what I would do.
Mm. So you got a good selection of 11 songs now, which is enough to like to do like a show, some gigs now. Do you have any like live music venues you're performing in soon in the future?
Yeah, you know what? I think I've booked up 12 shows so far for the rest of my year, which is kind of nice. I work full time and have three kids, so I don't play every weekend. I kind of focus on trying to get myself into festival sort of styles, if that makes sense, just where I can um, I don't know, like it's hard for me to go out every Friday and say play a
Yeah.
show, babysitter, this, that. But yeah, no, I'm really excited. I got into this Canadian, it's called the Road to Revelry Festival. So I got into the preliminary rounds. I have a tryout that's coming up in April. Basically, go and show your stuff off, and hopefully they pick you to go perform their festival. I think I reached out to you and asked for a vote. I got into a really cool contest for an opening act this year at a Stampede where I'm from. And if I make one of the top six spots, I get to open up for one of three pretty big artists out here in Canada, Canadian country artists. So, but I'm doing a rodeo again. I did last year. I got a bunch of duo performances coming up, which is kind of nice to, kick back a little and take it down. But no, my full band and we're ready to go. I'm
Oh,
excited to see what comes up. Little,
wonderful.
yeah.
Um, also, what part of the world would you like to wish to perform in if you had a chance to? Like Australia, maybe?
Like Australia would be pretty cool. Like I said, it's awesome to hear that I've had some um, radio plays out in the UK too, because I was looking at my you can kind of like check where everything's kind of been played, and majority of my streams and my actual radio spins are all from Australia or from the UK, more so than they are in Canada or anywhere in the United States. So I actually had a couple people from a cowboy shop like follow me and message me and say, "Hey, if you're ever out in the UK, let us know." And I was like, "It'd be cool to do kind of like just somewhere around, not Canada. I would love to go everywhere in Canada and play
Hmm.
music, but it would be cool to maybe next year book a month where I could find, hey, I'm playing 8 shows in 1 month, or 3 weeks I'm playing 8 shows or something, right? And plan a trip and see if I can, get out
Yeah.
there and do that. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, when your opportunities do come knocking at the door sometimes when you least expect it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
you kind of just got to take all the opportunities. That's
Yeah.
what I've been kind of doing. You pass
That's
it
what
up,
it's
it might
about.
not happen, right? So.
Yeah, I'm just going to finish off. Where's best for people to like follow you, on social media and like websites, emailing lists, and if you just like to say anything final to the interview you may like to add to your fans and family, friends and followers, please do.
Well, I want to say thank you again for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here talking with you. Um, Follow me on all my social media. Everything is BBN Music, just two B's, ANNE. Instagram, everywhere. Follow me. If you are listening, look up the Tweed Stampede and vote for BBN. Votes will help me just until this Friday. And yeah, honestly, thanks for having me. I hope to be
Great.
back again.
Yeah, we'd like to just personally thank you for joining me on my show again and wish you continual success, with this new EP and your latest endeavours. I'm sure we'll get you back on in the near future.
Thank you so much.
And to tie our listeners over, we're going to play Gin and You on my show now.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good to see you again. And yes, I'll check in with you soon.
Okay, take
Take
care.
care.